All right. Okay, now we are live. Thank you. Welcome, welcome everyone. Here we are, one more Saturday all together with Unlimited Network Mastermind, dedicated to conscious entrepreneurs. I was just putting a post right now on Facebook announcing this, and I feel so proud that we are this group of people choosing consciousness and to really I believe that we are changing our world. All this conscious entrepreneurship is really moving our world in a different direction, more heart oriented and with the right, to have all our desires accomplished, but in a way that comes from the inside out. So I'm very happy to be here. And I welcome everyone, the ones that we are in the panel, that this is growing. I love it. And the ones that you are in the other side or even listening to the recording later. So welcome, welcome everyone. And today we are going to go right into the topic. Just a little reminder about the chapter we are working with, the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. And today we are going to open chapter number 3, but we went through the chapter number 1 just to keep integrating this, that was really about our right of to be rich, to let go the old consciousness of poverty and how that was valued spiritually talking. So the ones that we are, called spiritually, we normally have this kind of inner conflict inside, if money or success or wealth, in general, that I think is more than money, but money is a big aspect for us to be in business, and that's what we do as entrepreneurs. So it's nice to reaffirm and to really integrate that we have the right capital letters, that is our birthright, okay? And yes, good morning, Jay. Welcome, welcome. And so that's beautiful to reaffirm. So go back to that chapter if you really felt shocked by that truth, like she said in that chapter. And then last week we worked deeply, or personally I did, with chapter number 2, that was really about the deep understanding of this powerful law of radiation and attraction, and how we are not going to get anything, that you don't get nothing for nothing. You really have to offer something. You have to give outside. That could be, vibration, a smile, anything that you have, but to manifest something different, you have to offer it first, vibrationally talking. So that was very powerful for me to understand, and how everything begins in our minds, and to really have, I think we are growing into this power of choice. Like, I keep catching myself thinking limiting, and, like getting contracted when some news appears that are against the whatever, that I could be worried about it, and to really see that takes less and less time for me to come back to my center, to let it go, and to claim the truth that we are learning all together here. So that's wonderful, and it's practical. It's something that I want to really make these masterminds that we are working here all together, to apply it in our daily life, to really use it for our business, for our personal life. I mean, I think all this is super rich in many aspects. And today I think we will jump into the chapter number 3. And Doc Frank, I know you are going to be here with us reading the book, and after maybe you need to leave earlier today, but let's go for this beautiful chapter, the vacuum law of prosperity. Let's see if we can understand that deeper here and apply it in our lives. Are you ready, Doc Frank?
I am ready. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I do have to leave immediately after I finish my training here this morning, so I apologize for that, because I'll have to definitely listen to the replay, because I got really excited when I read this particular chapter in this training from Catherine this morning, and I've actually applied this, but didn't understand it. I never thought of it in terms of how she describes it. So it'll be very interesting to see how it triggers with each of you. So law number 3, or chapter 3, the vacuum law of prosperity. You have heard it said that nature abhors a vacuum. It is particularly true in the realm of prosperity. The vacuum law of prosperity is one of the most powerful, though it takes bold, daring faith to set it into operation, as well as a sense of adventure and expectation to reap its full benefits. When a person is honestly trying to be prosperous, is thinking along prosperous lines and still fails, it is usually because he needs to invoke the vacuum law of prosperity. Basically, the vacuum law of prosperity is this: if you want great good, greater prosperity in your life, start forming a vacuum to receive it. In other words, get rid of what you don't want to make room for what you do want. If there are clothes in the closet or furniture in your home or office that no longer seem right for you, if there are people among your acquaintances and friends that no longer seem congenial, begin moving the tangible and intangibles out of your life in the faith that you can have what you really want and desire. Often it is difficult to know what you do want until you get rid of what you do not want. Inevitably, in your life experiences, you will find that when the good you wish has not appeared, it is usually because you need to release and let go of something to make room for it. New substances do not flow easily into a cluttered situation. If you want greater good in your life, what are you letting go of or getting rid of to make room for it? Nature does abhor a vacuum, and when you begin moving out of your life what you do not want, you automatically are making way for what you do want. By letting go of the lesser, you automatically make room for your greater good to come in. Form a vacuum for health. Whenever you dare to form a vacuum, the substance of the universe then rushes in to fill that empty space. This applies on the spiritual, mental, and physical planes of life. Forgiveness is the answer. Most folks are afraid of the word forgive, thinking that it simply means that you must do something unpleasant and dramatic. But the word simply means to give for, to let go of old ideas, feelings, or conditions, and to give something better in their place. The giving for process forms a vacuum and makes way for the new good to rush in. I've discovered from talking with hundreds of people about their problems and from corresponding with hundreds more that inevitably when a stubborn problem does not yield, it is because there is a need for forgiveness. I have further discovered that if only one person connected with the problem will start the action of forgiveness, all concerned will respond, be blessed, and the solution will come. A forgiveness technique. Here is a forgiveness technique that can form a vacuum for whatever good your life seems to need just now. Sit for half an hour every day and mentally forgive everyone that you are out of harmony with, feel badly toward, or are concerned about. If you have accused anyone of an injustice, if you have discussed anyone unkindly, if you have criticized or gossiped about anyone, if you are legally involved with anyone, mentally ask their forgiveness. Subconsciously, they will respond. In like manner, if you have accused yourself of failure or mistakes, forgive yourself. Forgiveness can form the vacuum that will undam your prosperity and success. Mentally declare to others, God's forgiving love has set us free. Divine love now produces perfect results, and all is again well between us. I behold you with the eyes of love, and I glory in your success, prosperity, and complete good. It is good to declare for yourself, I am forgiven and governed by God's love alone, and all is well. Releasing is magnetic. Are you clinging to the thought of how some troublesome situation in your life can be made right? What shape and form the solution should take? Then release, loose, and let go. Declare to the situation or personalities involved, I release, loose, let go, and let God. Do not be fearful of letting go. Nothing can ever be lost through spiritual release. Instead, your own good and the good of all concerned is much freer to move into your life. Through release, your power of attracting good is greatly increased. One word of caution here about attitudes toward the tangible things you release. I once felt led to go through my closet and give away most of the clothes therein to my sister. These clothes were perfectly good, but I had tired of them and no new clothes had recently appeared. So I felt by passing them on, I was making way for the new clothes. After mailing these clothes to her, I felt happy and expectant about the new clothes I was sure would manifest. But for a number of weeks, nothing happened. Finally, I realized that I was still mentally hanging on to the clothes I had sent her, thinking, if I had that dress or suit I sent Sis, I would wear it today. It was then necessary for me to re-release what I thought I had already released. In my mind, I went over every item I had sent her and declared to each individual piece of clothing mentally, I fully and freely release you. Use the substance at hand. Another way of invoking the vacuum law of prosperity is by using your present visible substance without withholding it, thereby making way for new prosperity to flow to you. However, you have to do this in a certain attitude of mind in order to produce rich results. When there does not seem enough prosperity on hand to meet present needs, or when you seem blocked in attaining greater prosperity, take control of the situation. Take control in your thoughts and feelings. Rather than feeling helpless, defenseless, and sorry for yourself, declare to those financial appearances, peace, be still. Take your wallet, checkbook, or other tangible evidences of financial supply in your hands and declare concerning them, you are even now filled with the rich bounty of God who supplies my every need now. Then is the time to fearlessly and boldly use the substance they contain as far as it will go in the present situation. If there are bills to be paid, do not wait until enough money comes in to pay all of them, but go right ahead in faith and pay those you can. That is breaking the substance on hand and sending it forth so that it can multiply. Look up toward prosperity. Establishing and maintaining a prosperous attitude, just as though your bounty was already completely visible, is important at this point. This is not the time to talk lack, to withhold, or to practice stringent economy. Instead, this is the time to use up the last of your financial assets to the last penny if necessary. If you withhold, talk about financial lack at this point, it will cost you double. Instead, look up mentally and give thanks for the substance you already have to send out. Then boldly send it forth with a rich flourish and a rich blessing. Joyously declare, this is the bounty of God, and I send it forth with wisdom and joy. When you look up, regardless of appearances to the contrary, you are always provided for. Put your best foot forward. Another way to look up, regardless of financial appearances, is to put your best foot forward. Wear your best clothes. Look your best. Live as richly as possible in what you already have. I recall once needing new clothes for a conference I was required to attend, but there seemed no money on hand for new clothes. When I prayed about the matter, I got the feeling that I should begin wearing my very best clothes in order to help me feel rich. Every day for almost a week, I wore my best dress over and over. One day, a gift of money was sent to me for some services I had rendered in the past. Of course, I immediately shopped for the desired new clothes. When you have released, let go, and formed a vacuum for new prosperity, that is the time to do whatever you can to effect the rich feeling, the rich atmosphere, the rich look with your present substance. Mention the apparent lack or vacuum to no one. Speaking of economic lack and limitation keeps many people in the poorhouse financially. Never think of yourself as poor or needy. Do not talk about hard times with a necessity for strict economy. Do not think how little you have, but how much you have. This is the time to use your best china and silver and to eat by candlelight, even if your means consists of only pork and beans. As you form a vacuum and let go of what you do not want, As you use your present visible supply to meet the immediate needs as best you can, not withholding it, but as you live as richly as possible in the face of appearances, the rich results will begin to come forth. Almost mysteriously, new channels of supply will appear to meet your needs. You will discover other financial assets in your midst, of which you were previously unaware, to meet your needs. Other people will unknowingly do things to add to your prosperity as well. In quietness and confidence in your strength, when there is a need for greater prosperity, if you dare look up, bless, and break the substance at hand in whatever way seems best. Always ask for divine guidance concerning the practical as well as the spiritual ways in which you may form a vacuum for new prosperity when these financial needs loom upon you. Don't get panicky. This is just further opportunity for you to prove that the invisible laws of prosperity can produce visible, satisfying results. This is just your initiation in the power of prosperous thinking. If you learn how to form a vacuum for new good early in your conscious development of prosperous thinking, then you do not panic at financial challenges, but know you can and shall meet them victoriously and be much richer in the long run for having learned how to use the invisible laws of supply to meet visible needs. Often, when you are forming a vacuum by using what you have, you find that the amount on hand is sufficient, that too much is wasted or spoiled, and that amount, which at first seems small or even insufficient, becomes adequate as you use it fearlessly. It even seems to supply you during that period when no more substance immediately appears if you continue to use it fearlessly, and in the faith that every need is being met. Make room for your good. We all want better financial conditions, and we should have them. Here's the way to obtain them. Do not talk about financial lack, but begin thinking in terms of the rich universal abundance that is everywhere. Then learn to let go, to give up, to make room for the things you have prayed for, worked for, and so strongly desire. As you give up and cast away old ideas, attitudes, old possessions, and put in their place new ideas of prosperity and progressive achievement, your conditions will steadily improve. You always want something better than you have now. It is the urge of progress. Just as children outgrow their clothes, you outgrow former ideals, broadening your horizons of life as you advance. There must be constant elimination of the old to keep pace with this growth. When you cling to the old, you hinder your advance or stop it altogether. Why not dare to form a vacuum now and invite that complete prosperity and success which you have so yearned to experience and which is divinely meant for you? Powerful concepts, maybe a little difficult to apply, but many years ago it occurred to me that the only time my income ever seemed to slow down was when I stopped spending money, as if I had no concern about income. And in fact, I didn't have any concern.
Doc Fran, we heard you many years ago, and then we didn't hear what you said.
Oh, many years ago I discovered the reality, or I observed the reality in my life, that the only time my income ever slowed down was when I stopped spending money, when I worried about whether I had enough money to spend the money I wanted to spend. And it was really bizarre, but it truly is a fact that the more you spend, the more you create to spend. And when you couple that with true giving, there was one year in my life where I was trying to bring a partner into my practice, and his arrival was completely delayed for months and months for reasons that he manufactured. But in the process of doing that, I doubled the physical size of my office, I doubled the physical size of my staff, And then I was sitting there with all of this staff and all of this space still as a single practitioner. What was amazing is that my productivity increased, my patient flows increased. Bottom line for that year was I spent more money than I ever spent in my entire career. I lost more money when the partnership failed to materialize than I had ever lost at any point in my life. I earned more money than I had ever earned at any point in my life. I gave away more money than I ever gave away in any other year of my life. And the most bizarre reality is that at the end of the year, when we tallied everything up, we had more money in the bank than we had ever had at any point in our lives. So it was a powerful lesson to me. I wish I had learned to continually apply that without ever questioning it. So having read this law, it made me laugh, and I'm really looking forward to listening for the next few minutes to the discussion from our esteemed panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc Fran, for the wonderful reading and for the incredible topic. I mean, I love to hear from personal experiences how we can apply this, and you know, it's easy to read. I think I love it. I feel so real, but then to apply it, you know, like to really apply, I think to me, like create the vacuum, you know, even with our own thoughts. When I become aware of my thought of scarcity, or you know, receiving a bill and contracting and don't knowing how I'm going to do this or to do that. It's easy to say, you know, but then to really apply it. So I love the exercise that she talked about, 30 minutes every day. I don't think I'm 30 minutes, but 10, 15 minutes I can spend every day writing down things that comes to my consciousness that I want to get rid of or let go, more than pushing away, but just, you know, letting go back to source. And it's moving. I mean, it's funny because there are things that are coming up that are unexpected to me, you know, like I'm doing this now for more than a week, and it's interesting. So I really recommend to practice it. But I want to hear all of you here, and then after, when we finish at the end of the call, I come back or whatever. But let's see who yes, I can see here you, Candace, welcome. welcome.
Doc Fran, thanks so much. Always so well read, and just thank you so much. And your story is very, very illustrative and inspiring. I've recently been traveling. I was away for a little over a month, and I went to Florida from where I am in Nevada. And for some long time, I have a storage unit, and I had been inspired to really pretty much let go of it. What I did, instead of completely letting go of it, was just shrink it down from a big one to a little one. And that was, I considered that major progress. And yet, while I was away in Florida, I saw that from that point, I could have, the choices that were available to me were hindered by the fact that I still needed to come back to Nevada and handle even that little bit of storage, that I hadn't really brought myself to a completion. I hadn't emptied and created a vacuum. And it held me back. I perceive. I don't know, you know, somewhere everything's perfect, but I also really saw that had I had the I'm just going to call it courage, for lack of another word, to just defenestrate, to let go, to really release that stuff, that I would have been in a different choice point, and I would have felt a lot more freedom. And if I'd missed any particular item that I'd let go of, it was available. I could have had it again. I could have picked it up, or anywhere from go buy a brand new one to find a used one. And another quick story, this was years in the past, that I really wanted a hall tree. It's one of those stands that you put your hat and your coat and everything on. And I was reading, I believe I was reading Catherine Ponder at that time also. I had 3 little kids in the house, and at that point didn't feel like I had a lot of money, but I felt like we were living prosperously and with good attitude about it. over the next week, so I put that sincere desire out for a hall tree. Within 3 or 4 days, I'm driving down the street, and oh my gosh, there's a hall tree. And then around the corner, there was another one, and there was another one. I ended up with 3, and one of them is fully brass, classy, gorgeous. 2 of them were just kind of got the job done. But one of them was just amazingly, amazing in quality and so on, and it was just sitting on the curb. And I had room in the car. So at least I had a vacuum in my car. So with that, I will pass the pass the baton here to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you, Candace.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I just love it to.
I just love it to.
I don't know what I'm hearing. My
echo here.
1 second.
1 second.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm hearing my echo. Do you hear echo?
Do you hear echo?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to the next Celio.
Yes.
Welcome.
Dr. Fran, as you were talking about, your experience that year, it takes a lot of courage. I really, I think that's the whole point, not to stop the flow of energy called money, by fear, by now I'm going to spend less. And Catherine Ponder talks all the time, forget about the thoughts of scarcity, of lack, but subconsciously, to me, that's the core point. Subconsciously, there's so much to clean, so much to release. Also, like Candice, you were saying, I mean, it's the vacuum concept. It's so basic. Release. She actually says it, release. And now, Monica, you're saying also that this week you're practicing that exercise. I mean, the more we release, the more we clean, the more we find things that show up. And to me, this week, the lesson was, not so much in money, which of course is so important, but really when we talk about wealth and health is so much more important. It's the foundation of everything else. And I really had to let go of patterns, of subconscious, beliefs in real life situations that I had to go through this week that had to do with health. There I was in a working situation with meetings, and one day I had very important situation that I was working from a high level of consciousness point of view, but it took a lot of energy. And then and the next day I had extremely important meetings. Everything went out smoothly, but my body paid the bill because subconsciously I was not doing the vacuum for my health, to keep the pace, to keep the right food. And it's so important because sometimes I feel, at least for me, and I think for, all of us, we're so focused on money. And we say, no, it's not money. Wealth is more than money. It's health and it's relations. But sometimes we have to go through the actual getting sick or very sick or whatever level of the cleaning or releasing has to happen. So we learn and we understand what's exactly the situation. And that's what happened to me this week. To be, yes, money is extremely important, and we're here to, trying to manifest as much as possible, and that's great. And business and partners and situations, welcome. I mean, but what about the health? And for me, that's the lesson right now, that there must be a balance. My vacuum has to be done in releasing any pattern, any subconscious pattern that I have that is blocking me to have a perfect harmony, a perfect balance between health, money, my work, my business, and relationships, because it's all so connected, So I love this vacuum concept of Catherine, and, in life, it's like, leave a space for that clarity of that allows you to be balanced, to be in this situation that you can deal with perfectly. I was dealing with situations that really were so difficult from any point of view, and I was being successful in one way, but I was getting sick. So that's the lesson for me this week, and it was very powerful. I really, and then again, like I always say, whenever I was preparing today, this mastermind, the shift. I don't, it's such a, I love this word. In Spanish, there's no translation. Like, shift happened, immediately. My consciousness put in this chapter, in this mastermind, and everything, is like, I was already in another level. When I show up in this, for this mastermind, I was already in the next level. So I think that's magical. That's the Ponder effect, or, and I really appreciate, every day more these masterminds, the presence of all of you guys, Dr. Fran, Dr. Monica, and all of you. I mean, this is so precious, and I understand that more and more people are listening, and I'm so happy for that. But I really understand, because it's, we're, this precious energy here for all of us. So it's for us to grab it, no, and use it. I'm definitely going to grab as much as possible as I can, and that's my part.
Thank you, Celio. Wow. Well, I think I'm glad that you feel better physically, and what a beautiful lesson, to allow that unconscious level to take it easy after you were successful. So congratulations for that part, and then to really take care of your body, when it's calling the attention here. But I mean, it's so important what we are all saying here, to master this letting go. This sentence of let go and let God, to take care of the situation, or be still and know that God is taking care, of the situation. I mean, that really relaxes me inside and helps me to let go the old thinking,
We lost you.
Okay, now?
Yes, now you're back.
Okay, great. Well, I was just saying thank you, and Celio, very much. And then let's see if I can see any other microphone open here. Who would like to share your... Yes, Richard, welcome. No? I saw out the microphone and then back. So whoever would like to share...
wrong icon.
Right now, beautiful.
I thought it was interesting when she talked about taking that half hour a day for meditation, to just, not meditation, but just to forgive. And that has to translate ultimately to not only a half hour a day, but an orientation in life, so that that idea of forgiveness, of letting go of grudges, of hurts, becomes something that becomes simply part of our chemistry, part of our makeup. It takes so much energy to hold on to negativity. It takes so much energy to not forgive. It takes so much energy to revel in our woundedness, in a sense. That's energy that could be well used elsewhere. And not only that, but when we're out in the world dealing with people, they sense that negativity. They sense that energy, that negative energy. And they're not attracted to it, but repelled by it, I think. So that taking a half hour a day to consciously work on forgiveness, I think is so critical and so important, not only for us personally, but I think it has ramifications in ways that we can't even imagine. So that struck me listening to this today. So often too, the devil is more comfortable than the devil you don't. It's easier to hold on to things that we're familiar with, even if they hurt, than to take a chance on opening ourselves up to infinite possibility. Nothing happens without a price, and the price is in this instance, I think, just taking a chance, being willing to let go and let ourselves fall and see what happens. So often we're holding onto a tree, and we say, okay, I'm going to, oops, you there?
Yeah, now we're here.
Okay. So often we're holding onto a branch on the edge of a cliff, and we're invited to let go, and what we wind up doing is this. We just let go of one finger at each hand. We're not quite willing to go all out. We're not going to go all in. We're going to, we'll take a chance, but we're also going to hedge our bets. Well, I think the invitation today is not to hedge your bet, but to let go and to trust and to create the energy that allows infinite possibility to begin to take hold and happen. I'll leave it at that.
Wow. Yes, Richard. Yes, yes, yes. And you know something that I am discovering into the practice that I'm doing with forgiving is easy to say, you know, when you are not hurt. Like, but when someone hurt, I love the way that Catherine Porter says something. You just remind me of that, Richard, because I mean, we need to apply this. And it, you know, to me, when you really are hurt, or there is, I love Catherine Porter saying something about, you know I can, with my human side, I cannot forgive, but I know you, God, can. You know, please forgive through me. So just to have the minimum intention. I remember when I was starting with my, because I did that before too, but I started again working with all here, our mastermind here, to do this 15 minutes, 20 minutes forgiveness every day. And you know, like things start to soften a little bit. Like in the beginning, I was putting things, you know, like, you know, I feel reaction on this, or I have, you know, I can see my feelings against that, you know. Little by little gets familiar, so I'm writing it, and at the end it's like, wow, you know, there is more space to let it go. There is less injury, there is less pain, you know, maybe because I feel it or something like that. But I love what you said, to really get that habit and constant, you know, like constantly. We are so aware that we can discern, you know, what we put our attention there or not. So interesting, Richard. I love it. Thank you.
Dr. Monica.
Doc Fran, yes.
I just have one quick question to throw out to the group. I found it very interesting that in this chapter on creating a vacuum, Catherine Ponder put a great deal of emphasis on forgiveness. So why do you think she did that? What do you think the effect created by forgiveness is that is consistent with the message of this chapter? And now I do have to go.
Okay, you will look at the recording.
I will.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you. But that really helped us to think, you know, about. I love the way you, Dr. Fran was asking us why forgiveness is so important, you know, and the title of the law today about, you know, like how nature fills up vacuum, you know, how the cosmos or the universe, you know, like when there is something empty, is going to be filled up. The thing is with what, you know, so to be alert on that and to really, I mean, that's my opinion. I would love to hear all of you there. But like we say, forgiveness, you know, to really be free, to be clean and clear and ready to channel and embody, you know, the divine intelligence, divine prosperity and abundance that we are made of. And at the end is to learn how to don't judge ourselves for whatever it is that we are, you know, and to know that we have more and more discernment, more and more space to choose what it is that we want to think. Because to me, I think at the beginning is really to master that mind, you know, like to have to realize that we have more and more power of choosing what it is that I want to think. Even though I catch my mind going to be worried, you know, about something, okay, how can I back to my heart, connection, you know, be still and know, you know, that I am God at work in this situation. I mean, that sentence from chapter 1, I take it with me now forever. I love it, you know, like just let go and let God to work in this situation, but don't mess up with it. Don't come in again and think about it, and it's constant. I don't know if I'm activated lately with doing this work or what, but I can see that it's constant, you know. So yes, let's see, Helio. I see you open.
I would like to answer Dr. Fran. I mean, in my feeling, in my perception of the experience of this extreme interesting week, the forgiving that Catherine is talking about, and also Richard that you were saying is so essential. I mean, we can think we forgive somebody else or some situation or a group or something external. But I think the forgiving she's talking about, the forgiving that is essential for the healing and for the shift, is to forgive ourselves. And that's exactly when you, Richard, were talking about, you know, meditation and creating a vacuum, a space, so that this fresh energy can emanate and can create or recreate. So sometimes we think, because I think it's an illusion, maybe, you know, we can't, I think it's limited, but we think we have forgiven a situation, some people, a pattern, you know, and maybe subconsciously we have not, or we have, but then what about ourselves? What about these patterns that we have with ourselves of perfectionism, for example? You know, this this is what happened to me. I did my job of forgiving. I mean, it was amazing, the job that I did, you know, from that point of view. But then maybe I didn't forgive myself. And that's what you know, I got sick this week. I mean, it's not seriously, but it was something that was very intense for me between two situations. And then I realized that I had to forgive myself so I could go on the next day with the next pattern of whatever I had to do. I was also forgiving, but it was more like business, wasn't so much focused in forgiving. So answering to Dr. Fran from me is the basic, the essential is to forgive myself, ourselves. And then all the forgiving is happening, you know, in miraculous ways.
Yeah, I think that's that's right on, Celio. I think we dropped out.
No, we hear you.
No, you are. We can
Okay.
hear you now.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest challenge, forgiving ourselves.
Yes, thank you. And you know what? I see that begins with intention too, you know, like challenge, but at the end is intention. To me, I'm writing more and more. It's so funny because in the beginning I forgive that one, I forgive that situation, I forgive this, I forgive that. And lately I'm writing, I forgive myself for this, I forgive myself for that, knowing that we are the creator of everything. And at the end, you know, I'm the one filtering and committed to see this world in this other way, you know, and I don't know, I think that is very interesting to see. When you were talking about health, Celio, you know, to me it's so easy, you know, because at the end forgiving is to let go and let God, to let go and let the thoughts, the divine intelligence, God, I mean the universe, love, or whatever we want to call it here, to run our minds and our hearts and our bodies to really be the expression of that, you know. So, and it's so easy to think, let's say beginning by mind here, but to think abundance or prosperity or health when we feel great, you know, and when we have the money or whatever. But how do you forgive, let go all the appearance, you know, all the appearance, even if we are sick here, you know, and we feel down or whatever, and to really claim the health of my brilliant, magnificent being that is health for it, it's healthy, radiant health for eternity, you know. And that for me is a challenge, you know, especially financially talking lately, you know, it's almost like, okay, never talk, like she was saying today, never talk about scarcity, never talk about you don't have, and go, oh, and I get frustrated because what do I do with the appearance, you know, and because it's so real. So to really, I feel very empowered right now, all of us here talking, you know, because it's really about, okay, don't focus on the appearance, forgive the appearance, let it go, and be willing to embody the truth that we already know, you know, thanks to these books in you know, in prosperity thinking, you know, like all is possible and that we have access and I'm safe and God is, the abundance of God is taking care of this or that, or the health of God, you know, is taking care of my body right now. So I mean, it's like it's a constant giving up, you know, releasing, surrendering to our truth, and to practice that. So yeah, thank you guys. I feel very empowered right now by you. Who else we have here? Mr. Ransen.
Okay. I don't know if Richard wanted to say something more there on the topic, but anyway. So yeah, the question is, you know, as she starts the chapter, to create a vacuum. The reason we need a vacuum is because consciousness, our minds, will be filled with something. And whatever it's filled with is what we are experiencing. It becomes our life. So what is it filled with? Well, if we have things that are incomplete with ourselves or with other people, then we need to do forgiveness for the reason of emptying out our mind. So mind can then be filled up with the natural consciousness, the consciousness with the power of the source that creates life, that creates the worlds, that creates can you hear me now? Okay. So the purpose of, sorry, we sound like I got kicked out a bit, but anyway, so the purpose of having an empty mind is so the source can fill us up. It's almost like we're born, our life force, our abundance, our success is there, and then we bring in judgments on ourselves and others, and we kick out the life force and the success and abundance. And our job now is to empty the things we filled our minds with and preoccupy ourselves. It's almost like we are distracting ourselves with our minds instead of being a part of focused on our consciousness, our divine self. And when we are looking over here on the judgment, we are not looking at who we are and our natural abundance. So emptying out, creating a vacuum is to release the mind, release the filled up with the judgments. And for me, this chapter was a little overwhelming. Oh my God, I have to do this. I have to forgive. I have to get rid of stuff. I have to put my best foot forward. I have to be fearless. And oh my God, how am I gonna be able to do all of those things? And I remember probably the most abundant time I had in my life. I don't know how it happened, but I think a couple of years I was spending a lot of money, and over $7,000 a month, which is a lot for me. And every month, and I remember Monica used to say, "What are you doing? How can you do that?" But month after month, all the bills were paid, all the things I spent the money on. I had no debts. Every month, I was up to paying all that, and I didn't even know how. Well, I said the words, "I know the money will be there," and as I was spending it, and it worked for years. So I have the experience that's worked. But today, in my life today, I would say I live an abundant life, but mentally and financially, like a cash in wallet is poor, and I'm in that fear state, which I argue to be common sense. Well, you gotta see what you have in your checkbook or in your bank account and in your wallet, and then you spend according to that, and you make a budget, and you be smart about the money that you're spending, which is opposite to what we're learning here, because I'm really holding back, being careful, not creating a vacuum. So, and I can't say honestly right now, oh, I'm just gonna do it. As a teenager, I would. I lived like that for years and lived like a prince. Is the way I used to call myself. But today, I have to really find that place where that is correct, true for me, where I can trust. I have to trust and that to let go, I will be safe to do the spending, even to the last penny, as she said, and trust that I'm taken care of with that, and at the same time as I need some help with forgiveness and letting go, and most places I have it, but in some places I don't. Okay. So I'm hearing an echo of myself, so I said enough.
Yeah, Celio.
Yes, no, I just wanted to add to what Arne was saying. I think this vacuum concept is extremely important and it's very deep, because like Arne was saying, as a teenager or in some in other times of, at least in my life, I was unconscious in many ways, and I would spend, I wasn't even aware. I don't think what she's talking about is like literally empty your wallet or empty your bank account. You being very conscious of what that energy is, the energy called money, and then finding an internal balance. Okay, yes, I can keep a budget, I can be conscious, but at the same time, I can let the energy flow. I don't have to be in fear. I don't have to be in scarcity. I can just flow, and allow that energy called money to come in, to downpour over me. But I think it's very deep, and I really connect, Richard, with, with what you're saying of, and I know, Monica, you work on this too, and for me it's more and more real. The more I go inside, the more I touch with this, with the energy of the source, of the divine intervention, of divine source. I understand exactly what's the situation of my bank account. Maybe the bank account gets empty in one way because it's like money that maybe was like old money, like came from another energy that now is not wanted in my present. And maybe is making, probably, and not, I don't say maybe, for sure, making space, right? The vacuum is making space for clean, fresh, new, abundant money. I mean, I was focusing talking about health, but talking about money, the nitty-gritty, yes, and it does happen. It's amazing. It does happen. The bank account gets empty in one side, and then the fresh money, the new money comes in, and I'm really experiencing that in my life, But of course, it has to get empty first. And it's like in health, you have to get sick first to understand what it means to be healthy. And I'm on my own. I have to understand what it's to live on my own, to appreciate what is to have incredible company, which for me is the true wealth also, to have a good partner, to have someone with me. I have to understand what is being on my own, having the bank account in zero, and being sick. And once I have that inner compassion, I understand and I connect with my source, definitely it's manifesting. It's really manifesting, it's really manifest. So this is my, big manifestation to this chapter. I just can say big manifestation. It's very powerful today. I am amazed, really, it gets better and better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Celio. Wow. Well, I just love the way that you explain it, and I can feel it when you say it, And then thank you, Arne, for your sharing. I really see that it's an interesting topic, how much you can be conscious of money without controlling, but being, conscious of it, maybe it's the balance, Arne. It's not one extreme or the other, I don't know, that's something to explore, but to also be unconscious. I managed a lot of money in my life too, when I was, these 14 years of dentist, and having my own clinic and working there, but I was super unconscious. It's like, I was very unconscious, and I was certain that, my bank account was God's bank account at that time. I was saying loud that thing, but I never really consciously choose, to enjoy and to master, if you want, the financial flow of life and abundance and prosperity. And then when the trouble comes, and then is where I have the opportunity to clean, to forgive, to let go all the unconscious fear limitations that I grew up with, because I'm conscious about that, and to let all that go, to manifest it, like you were saying, Celio, beautifully right now, from a completely new, fresh energy, without memories and without limitations or projections of fear, all that stuff. I think it's interesting to be conscious. And they say, the more money you want to manage, the more you need to know that you are good at managing the money, because one thing is to survive. First, to don't have debts, I think is wonderful, Arne, energetically talking, but then to have a surplus of money, you need to know how to harness it, how to really allow that energy in your life without having to, push it away, or having to spend it so then you don't have it, or being unconscious about it. I mean, I think we grow in frequency that we can manage it, with a flowing, you know, wise, easy way, you know, instead of controlling, fearful, you know, controlling way, I would say. So I don't know, that's my opinion. But again, you know, extremes, I think balance is the ideal from my perspective, but I'm exploring that too. So thank you, Arne.
Well, maybe if I say this, it will help my process here. I'm observing that, you know, I have a dream on living on a boat, my yacht. I know all about that. So I'm here in another place, not on the yacht. So there must be a little resentment, or at least occupation, with not being there and being here instead. And until I can empty and create a vacuum for the boat experience to come in, I have the way to empty the present time is to accept it and to see that it's fulfilling, and there is nothing that needs to be gotten what's the word? Not getting rid of, but yeah, getting rid of the judgment, the resentment of being here, instead of just allowing the perfection that has created my current situation and see that as perfect. Then I will. That's the way I will create my vacuum, the vacuum of acceptance, a vacuum of not having anything that I'm incomplete with. So I think just saying that will help me a little bit of feeling that it's perfect the way it is, and therefore that will be the vacuum that creates whatever next step is for me.
Thank you, Arne. I love, you know, this is real practice here, all of us listeners and the ones that we are engaging. You know, if you want to be on the panel, please don't doubt to send an email to Arne, A-R-N-E, @unlimitednetwork.com, so we can send you the special link to be part of this conversation. But I wanted to say, Arne, that you know, there is, I work a lot with Abraham Hicks also, and I love how she said, you know, something like, when you want that boat, or when you, whatever it is that you want in life, is because that boat is going to make you feel, and then you fill up the blank, you know, like free or strong or adventurous, or in your case, I don't know, you have to go for there, you know. But the thing, what she said is that, so then you need to start to feel that frequency, that feelings right here and now. That's what will attract the boat, or the financial freedom, in my case, that I'm looking for, you know. So how do I feel, you know, this financial freedom? Not only what I need to think, that is what I'm very aware, thanks to this Catherine Ponder right now, but to feeling prosperous, you know, when she says to put your best clothes, to really, you know, your best, I said, the plates and the glasses and everything on the table, you know, like to really live your first class life right now, right here and now, and fulfilled and beautiful and radiant and gratitude and, you know, grateful and all that stuff. So at the end, I think that to really not only make peace with where we are at, but to celebrate every little thing, you know, that where we are at right now offer us, you know, in this present moment, instead of waiting, then I will be, you know, that I think is the unconscious tendency for me, for sure, to wait, you know, when I will have that income, then I will be happy. No, let's be happy now, so that income or that boat or that whatever it is that I'm looking for will come. Again, easy to say, and I know, you know, one of the things that I like about this practice of the taking 20 minutes of time where I'm with a paper that after I burn outside in the garden here, I go with my lighter, you know, and I burn the paper every day, is because things are, it's like almost I open the space to stir up, you know, like to what it is that needs to be letting go right now. And I feel resentment, you know, this kind of little, whatever it is that I'm nervous about, you know, just let it go, let it go, let it go every day. And I feel like more gentle with myself, more forgiving with myself and with the environment, with what surrounds me right now. So practically works, you know. But again, Arne, I acknowledge you for highlighting that, you know. Like, let's be happy here, you know. Like, let's be fulfilled here now, you know. So whatever we desire will come in. And I see you, Richard, open. So yes.
Yeah, just a thought, because I was listening to Arne a few minutes ago, and the word responsibility sort of came into mind. You know, that we let go totally, we listen to what her urgings are, but there's that holding back a little bit because we feel it would be irresponsible to do that, I think. You know, I think society and how society views money would tell us at this point that what you're looking to do is irresponsible. And that's a huge anchor that all of us still carry, I think, to some degree. And we always fight against that. But there was something else she said there with regard to setting out the fine linen and the silverware and the candles, even if you're eating pork and beans. So even in her own mind, it seems to me, although she's talking about dressing up to the nines and really being extravagant, there's also, in some of what she's saying, a little bit of holding back, I'm thinking. That there's this sense of responsibility, the sense of, well, there's only so much that I can afford here, period. So she's not saying eat filet mignon, even, you know, but eat pork and beans. So there's a little bit of holding back, I think, that I noticed in her chapter that I wonder about.
Good point, Richard. And I think the ideal thing is to explore all of us, you know, really to how much we can take it in and to apply it, you know. But I don't know, for me to really highlight that we have this attitude, you know, of celebrating prosperity living and dressing and eating and smiling, you know, and being like, yes, pro-life, I think is opening the door, you know. But I can see the microphone open here, Candace. Do you want to say something?
Yes, I do. I was thinking about the vacuum as Arne was speaking, and Richard, I really appreciate what you're saying about the responsibility and then that tendency to want to hold on just a part of it, maybe just a little bit of it, and not just whoosh, let it go. I think that's a very valuable point to consider and recognize in myself. But another.
Is that a good thing or not a good thing?
I think we just have to look at it and see and balance it with what we have going on in our lives, and see what true letting go is versus true holding on, because you either is or you ain't in a certain way, if that makes sense. But do we have to be empty of everything? When she gave away her clothes and the closet was empty, she was some weeks probably, I can imagine her trying to find something to wear in those few weeks. That, you know, that she looked, because she hadn't fully released the clothes and really allowed, but it took that for her to learn or to teach herself that she needed to also not just give them away, but also truly release them. So it's just a place to notice within ourselves the degree that we're comfortable with, the degree that works in our lives. Workability is a big key for me. Does it work? Does it not work? The thing I wanted to say, though, about vacuums that you inspired, Arne, was another affirmation from Catherine Ponder, and I believe it's another book entirely, but it's where she says, I look with wonder at that which is before me. And it occurs to me that when we do create that vacuum, when we've done the forgiveness and we have that vacuum in our heart where that event or that person had once held sway with the item we hadn't forgiven, that if we could just have that vacuum for a moment and look at it with wonder and appreciation and joy and say, just allowing the vacuum itself to be a thing of beauty in our lives and to be grateful for it for a moment, for a breath, before we move on, because it's going to want to fill itself. That's what I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Helio, yes.
Yes.
Yes, what Candice, what you're saying, that's the key. When you said the key word is joy, to have joy for the vacuum. But then what happens with joy is that something comes, something shows up to release. Because when joy is manifesting, then something is, something happens so that you are sure you make the choice of joy. It's very, you say, I choose joy in this vacuum situation, and then something happens just to make sure you release, and that's exactly what happened to me this week, just something to make sure that the joy, the celebration that you're, Monica, talking about is real, because we can make up anything, and it's okay to use our minds, but then it has to manifest, it has to physicalize, it has to become real. Otherwise, the money's not going to show up, the boat's not going to show up, Arne. My learning center or growth center is not going to show up. Our dreams, I'm sure, Richard, Candice, we all have this dream that is manifesting, but then, we have to allow it with joy and release. To me, that's the key point of this chapter at this point, Okay, thank you.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks, Helio.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yes.
So with this, I think we are going to complete our. Can hear my echo. So maybe let's see now much better. Okay, so can you hear me now? Yes, okay, good. So with this, we are going to close our time here together, but for sure this chapter has a lot of movement for us, looks like to me. So if you are in this side or in the other side looking at the recording, please, just email Arne, A-R-N-E, @unlimitednetwork.com if you have questions or comments, because maybe we need to redo this chapter again, I don't know. But let's read it again, and let's apply whatever you feel like you apply, because again, this book is really about getting, every time that I read a book or the chapter, and I'm working this book like a lot now lately, like, gosh, I get it, I get it deeper. So I invite all of us to read it again, this chapter, to really practice what you choose to practice here, because practice is what is going to help us to integrate it, to become it, like she was saying very beautifully before, you have to vibrate in the chapter before, to radiate what you want to attract, and we become what we want by feeling it right now, in the situation where we are at. So I wish all of you a wonderful week full of deep understanding of forgiveness, creating the vacuum that we need to create here to really allow the newness of our life, so we don't hold on anything. I love the posture that you had. I get it with me, Richard, to let it go, and to dive into the peaceful universe and divine intelligence that we are made of, instead of me wanting to control everything, So I got that image for sure. And if you want to say something before we go, Richard, I can see you
just a thought
here.
was, when you have a chapter, and this seems to possibly be one of them, that maybe deserves 2 weeks, rather than stay structured on a chapter a week. If there is enough material or enough conversation or dynamic that's going on that maybe a chapter deserves 2 weeks, I think we should consider that at least.
Thank you. We will consider it. We will talk about it, and we'll see. We will talk with Doug Frank too, but he will see the video of that too. So yeah, wonderful. And I think exactly, because to me, we can read it all the way, but the thing is to integrate it and to really apply it in our lives, so we can master that aspect and we can go to the next level, because it's very well done, the book. I mean, I think build it up, Great. So here we are, a little past of the time, but perfect all together here, nurturing our conscious entrepreneurship and to really work from the inside out. We are going to get together next Saturday. That's going to be April 18, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So please, again, if you want to be in the panel, remember to email Arne @unlimitednetwork.com. And if not, you are going to receive your link to see the recording or to be live to see the recording live on the moment, but under unlimitednetwork.com, /master-mind. That is where you can see it during the entire week. And besides that, thank you so much, everyone, for your presence here on the panel and for your attendance in the other side. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care.
Great seeing
Bye
you.
now.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.